It's February 11th, 1998, in the wooded hills of Marion, Kentucky. Three amateur cavers prepare for what they believe will be a straightforward exploration. The plan: map a forgotten lower passage of Devil's Bend Cave, a system known to locals but rarely entered beyond its first chambers. Alan Reeves leads the group. Alan has spent years studying the region's karst formations. He wears a white helmet fitted with dual headlamps, a small camera clipped to his vest, and carries a pack of climbing gear just enough for a few hours underground. Beside him is Mark Reeves, his cousin. It's Mark's first time inside a serious cave. The third member, Lisa Denton, is a casual caver and close friend of Alan's. She's taken weekend trips into smaller caves before. She carries a small guideline spool, a handheld light, and a backup battery pack. At the entrance, Devil's Bend Cave looks ordinary, just a low opening beneath tangled roots and moss, half hidden by ferns. The rock breathes moisture. Their voices echo faintly, swallowed by the dark. They crouch and crawl through the first section, light beams cutting narrow cones through the limestone mist. Cautious. They feel the thrill of the unknown. After 20 minutes of crawling, the passage widens into a small chamber. The walls glisten with thin sheets of calcite. They take a short break. Alan studies his notebook, then points toward a narrow slit on the far side, a downward crawl, barely shoulder wide. Locals call it the keyhole. He tells the group he'll go first, scout ahead, and call back if it's safe to follow. Lisa stays behind with Mark. Alan drops to his stomach, pushing forward into the keyhole. The passage tilts downward, angling just enough to pull him by gravity. The limestone walls close in, pressing cold against his arms. He exhales to squeeze through a tight bend, chest brushing stone. He's 10 feet in now, crawling slowly. The air smells of mud and iron. He mutters to himself, measuring the width. Narrow but manageable, he says softly. Behind him, the others wait in silence. Then, suddenly, Alan stops. He exhales, tries to move again, and realizes something's wrong. His ribs catch on the curve of the tunnel. When he breathes in, the rock doesn't give. The chest pressure builds. He exhales again, trying to slide forward, but instead of freeing him, his body wedges tighter. He tries to reverse, pushing with his toes, but the slope beneath him dips lower, pulling him further in. His helmet knocks against the roof. He can feel his heartbeat in his ears. Alan calls out first calmly, then louder. "Hold up, Mark, Lisa." His voice muffles through the rock. Mark crawls forward to listen. "Alan, you okay?" There's a pause, a gasp. Then Alan's voice, strained, hoarse. "I can't move." Within seconds, panic sets in. Alan's chest is fully compressed against the rock. Every breath feels shorter, shallower. The air in the passage thickens with his exhaled carbon dioxide. He shifts, trying to free an arm, but even the movement tightens the squeeze. He is completely trapped. Mark, now trembling, shouts for Lisa. She crawls up beside him. Mark suggests digging, scraping at the edges. Lisa grabs a crowbar from the pack, barely a foot long, and starts chipping away at the clay floor. Alan tries to stay calm, counting breaths, but the squeeze on his chest makes exhaling almost impossible. The more his lungs fill, the tighter the trap becomes. He can feel panic rising, a primal, uncontrollable wave. He shouts once, a short, strangled sound, and then forces himself silent, focusing only on breathing. After 20 minutes, exhaustion takes hold. Lisa keeps digging. They fear he might lose consciousness. Mark squeezes into the tunnel as far as he can, reaching to touch Alan. "Hang on, Al. Just breathe slow. We're getting you out." Alan's voice comes weakly. "Can't move. Air's bad." Lisa crawls back to fetch the emergency air pocket, a small, flexible hose meant for short-term ventilation. She feeds it down the passage near Alan's head. It helps, barely. By now, they've been in the keyhole for almost an hour. The cave feels smaller, pressing inward. Mark begins carving at the clay with a knife, widening the slope by fractions of an inch. Alan, barely responsive, suddenly shifts a pop, then a groan. Lisa shouts, "He's moving." They pull together, steady, careful. Alan's body inches backward, scraping against the rock. One last heave, and suddenly he slides free, collapsing onto the floor of the main chamber, gasping. Alan lies still for a moment, then rolls onto his side, coughing mud from his mouth. His face is pale, eyes unfocused. His chest rises unevenly. Pulse. It's weak but steady. Lisa speaking softly, trying to keep him awake. After 10 minutes, Alan manages a faint smile. "Thought I was done," he whispers. It takes them over 2 hours to crawl back toward daylight. Alan can barely move on his own. They half carry, half drag him through the final bends. When they finally reach the entrance, the air outside feels impossibly fresh. The February sky is gray and cold. A nearby farmhand hears their shouts and calls for help. Emergency responders arrive within 30 minutes. Alan is treated on site for severe rib bruising, oxygen deprivation, and shock before being taken to a regional hospital in Princeton. He survives, though it's weeks before his breathing fully recovers. Later, Kentucky's Cave Rescue Association surveys the keyhole passage. They record its dimensions, just 12 inches at its narrowest point, barely enough space for an adult torso. The section is sealed shortly after. For Alan Reeves, the experience leaves more than scars. He withdraws from caving for years afterward, returning only as a guide for beginners focused on safety, never depth. Mark and Lisa never re-enter Devil's Bend. They both describe the moment Alan went silent as the longest minute of their lives. The local community quietly spreads the story. No dramatic headlines, no rescue crews on national news, just a caution whispered among cavers: "Don't test the keyhole. You think the rock is still," he once told an interviewer, "but when it has you, it feels alive. It pushes back." The Devil's Bend cave incident remains one of the most cited near-fatal entrapments in Kentucky's caving history. A stark reminder that even experienced explorers can underestimate how fast a passage can turn from challenge to coffin.